Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I am your homegirl hostess, TyraLen, and this is the Creative Carolina Culture. I'm back after being quarantined for so long, and I'm so happy to be back and shine a light on those who deserve it, who are still being creative in this crazy time that we're living in. Hi, Clay.
Hi there. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm so happy that you decided to join me today.
Absolutely. Pleasure. Glad to be here.
And you actually volunteered to be on my show, but little do you know, I needed to talk to you
Sure.
because in these times where we are quarantined and our only way of connecting with other people is through social media, you're a marketing expert.
Mm-hmm.
So, especially with the artists, which is what I really focus on, of course, people who have a product that needs to get out and about, they're experiencing, I guess, a whole new way of connecting with their masses. So, as you as a marketer, first off, tell us about yourself. Those who don't know, because I've done my research. So, tell the world who you are.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I am a marketing, public relations, and political professional and have been in the game in many facets for over 10 years. And I operate under the brand known as the Sousa Strategies. Basically. So I'm a one man show right now. I'm hoping to grow later on, but right now, and what I have been doing is been working in the areas and specialize in the areas of social media marketing, digital marketing, and even other traditional forms and new forms of marketing and communications. Also, with that, it comes with a clientele and a portfolio full of projects and clients from all across the spectrum, including politics, such as political candidates. So have worked, and still work on political campaigns of all kinds, from the local level, such as city council, to the statewide level, like state senator, state rep, all the way to the presidential level. So I worked on a few presidential races also in
Wow.
my time, even recently, and do I do fundraising aspects within that as well for campaigns, as well as with nonprofit organizations. Also have had nonprofits as clients as well. I've had one over here in Durham and Raleigh recently under the name of Big Sister Talk, who I could certainly refer to as a be a guest on your show and vice versa, because she has
Mhm.
her own podcast as well. And even with experiences in the technology field. So pretty much any industry, any field, I can provide a good marketing or communication strategy to basically help bring in more subscribers, revenue dollars, donations, votes,
You're the
etc.
connection king, pretty much.
Exactly, that's a good way to put it.
Ooh, you should put that on your Instagram. Now you got to change your name.
I should, yeah, maybe I'll do that today.
So, what has first off, how are you doing in this quarantine? How are you handling everything that's going on in this climate?
Yeah, definitely. Since I have the opportunity to expound upon that, it was hard, just like for anybody else. I don't think really one person is coming out of this or has came about this easily one way or another. I'm
Yeah.
sure there's at least been some dents. Obviously, it threw us all for a loop. We kind of knew it mean the coronavirus was out there. I'm sure we all just back in February or early March, even when we met the bruncheon, it was out
Right.
there.
I think that was my last time seeing
That was
people.
the last time I went out for brunch. That was the last outing. Well, last formal outing like that.
It was. I think it was mine too, because I don't really remember a life after that.
Yeah, there wasn't really any because that was that was the last time I
I
really
had
dressed up
those
too.
mimosas. Those mimosas were good. I need that again.
hmm Yeah, and it was very interesting because even at that, I was thinking that I hope everybody's clean here and like washing their hands and all. I was actually thinking that because I was watching the news and things
Mhm.
were really starting to boil over, and then as you all know, within the next week, it's like the world just shut down
And
and restaurants closed, everything closed. We were told we had to stay away from each other. We had to get on queued lines at Walmart, Target, and we couldn't find toilet paper and hand sanitizer all of a sudden. Literally,
the
like
craziest
after
thing,
that event, the world just went to pot. No funny.
it has, and even now, it's gone. It's
It's about to
gone.
get to that.
Oh my gosh.
We'll get
Yeah,
to
we're
that in a
gonna
little
get to
bit.
that. We're definitely gonna get to that because I want to hear your opinions and your views, definitely.
Yes.
But
So let
first,
me.
oh, I'm sorry, go for it.
Yeah, but just to answer your question, because I don't like to leave anyone with their question. I don't like to dodge questions. So you asked me about how's quarantine been. So learning a whole lot because
Yeah,
obviously it is hard to get clientele in in this situation or the situation that we're now kind of, for lack of, I hate to use the word normalizing, like everybody keeps saying. I don't think we should be normalizing this at all, but it's hard to try to get new clientele to sign on as a client when they don't even know what their financial future is looking like. So it's really
I know.
hard to pick from that. I had projects that just went out the window, and obviously even jobs that like just folded up and closed because I was working in this the 9 to 5 quote unquote space for a little bit, and I was working on a presidential campaign. So just for full disclosure, I was working on the Mike Bloomberg presidential campaign. They shut their doors pretty much a week before the pandemic officially came onto the scene.
Mhm.
But yeah, I was very hopeful because I was supposed to possibly work on the Joe Biden campaign, just for full disclosure, and there were other projects in the pipeline. All that just went out the window when.
I know. Hurt
So
your
it
feelings.
So what I had to do was I was honestly just like anybody else, just trying to adjust. So I was looking up how to adapt, how to market, and how to do communication strategies during this pandemic. Obviously,
Yeah,
there's really no recent precedents for this, so I had to do a lot of digging and researching, and also look up what industries and what services and what professions or what type of jobs or fields or what benefits.
kind of had to just start over.
Mhm.
So, what did you
So
find?
what was that?
What did you find on your
Yep, so
research?
absolutely. So obviously, essential services industries are the ones that will be thriving during this and even long after this. So like big pharma, pharmaceutical marketing, health and wellness, utilities, even. Everybody needs a communications plan. Like Duke Energy, like had one saying, "We're with our customers during this time. Like we're not going to shut off your power." Stuff like.
It would have been a riot, huh?
Mhm.
Words.
Yeah, and also to digital enterprising spaces like Cisco's or Zoom, which I always had a Zoom account.
Daily.
Zoom was okay. It was out there. I mean, I've used Zoom, but honestly, when I use Zoom, it was probably like a year in between each time I use Zoom
Yeah,
because nobody was using it really, not in large capacities. Now Zoom grew 300% in two and
every
a half
day.
months.
Yeah. And isn't it amazing how the world is changing to where I'm saying the work life balance, but we're realizing that technology really can take care of a lot of things. It can handle a lot of things versus the people having to be in contact and be out in the world. I think it's really cool how Zoom is working. We use it every day at my job. So,
That's good. Yeah, yeah, it really was. And that's what you call digital enterprises. So the streaming services or the video communications services,
right
that's what that falls under. So that's another industry that will be booming because a lot of folks had to use that for school.
yeah.
Pretty much even with I even saw somebody do a Zoom wedding where I was just like, whoa, okay. Don't know about that, but Zoom is being used for multi-purposes. So communication services like that are going to be on the rise even long after this because people are just finding new ways to communicate and just to stay engaged without having to, do things in person. Now, I do think there is a space. I do want things to be in person to resume.
Right. We
Right,
need that connection.
right. We just can't go on like this because at some point you're gonna want to go to a festival again or things of that
Right.
nature or have a brunch again. And virtual brunches are fun, but It's just not entirely the same effect.
Yeah, it's like drinking alone almost.
Mhm. Yep.
That is true. That is true. So, with the marketing changing, well, not really changing, just like being enhanced and used a lot more, what ways have you found to stay connected? I know you said Zoom, to build your brand or your, what's the other word for brand? It's not branding, but it's marketing. Duh.
Yeah.
You're expert. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, branding is a good tool. Branding is just really more so cultivating and shaping an image. Marketing is really the strategy behind that. It's like creative Carolina culture is a brand, for
Mhm,
instance. That's just one example. Yep. Like Zoom, as we were just talking, is a brand for a communications tool.
mhm,
So, but as far as me, what have I learned or how have I stayed engaged?
mhm,
I really have had to learn new skills. Like I'm going to be doing my first virtual fundraiser in a couple of weeks for a commissioner of labor candidate, Jessica Holmes. So she is a young candidate. You can look her up, under 40. She's a
mhm.
black woman. She's running for commissioner of labor, and she's the current Wake County commissioner. So I know her quite well. So I am going to be co-hosting a virtual fundraiser through Zoom in the next couple of weeks. So I had to learn how to run like virtual events
Mhm.
just in general, make sure they run smoothly and all. And just honestly, as far as staying connected, you really had to be a little more aggressive and progressive and proactive with reaching out to people now because
Mhm.
you don't really have anything else to fall back into until it's deemed safe to go back outside, quote
True.
unquote, again. And the irony of that is that I said I was going to take some social media breaks. Honestly, when we were at that bruncheon, I was like, well, maybe I should do some social media breaks and just focus more on in-person interactions instead of being addicted to social media. Now we're in this, it's like, okay.
I'm going back to being myself now, like just introvert.
Mhm. Exactly. But yeah, but that's what I've been doing. I've just been sharpening and learning new skills. And it's basically the same
Mhm.
stuff in the digital space I've already known, but now you just had to learn it more at an advanced level now because that's
Yeah.
what's going to require to stay ahead in this world that we're in.
That is so true because again, like I was telling you earlier, as an interviewer, I like to be in the room with you. I like to read your energy and laugh and joke. But now I'm separated, so I have to use StreamYard and IG Live, and it's kind of new to me because I'm nervous about being on camera. How does that work? I don't know, but I do
Yeah,
like to feel the energy, and hopefully we will get back to that soon. It kind of
yeah,
seems like social distancing has went out the window with these protests. Can we just jump there? Because
yeah. That's the elephant in the
let's
room.
just get there already. Okay, we're not dragging this out. We will definitely get back to your marketing experience because we really want to know that. But your political experience, obviously, young voice, young black man. How are you coping with everything that's going on right now?
It's been real. It's been real. How should I just? I'm just gonna be honest. If this is
Please
an
be
honest,
honest. This is your safe space, okay?
okay. It's been really more awakening than even the previous outrages like Trayvon Martin or Michael Brown and such. It's almost as though each new occurrence that we see or experience in our being African American individuals makes us more and more aware and conscious. And you just think, wow, really, where was I before?
Where
Because we do get comfortable for a while after the dust settles. But when I saw what happened, obviously with George Floyd on Memorial Day, if you recall, it seems like wow, it was not. It hasn't even been it has been a full week. It doesn't even feels longer than that. So just think about it. When this weekend came, he had even been dead for a whole full week, and the whole world knows his name, and he literally is changing the world again, like this virus is. But with that being said, if you remember back on Tuesday when we woke up, or when you reported to work, or at home, or whatever it is you're doing, you first heard about the gentleman who was in Central Park in New York who had a police call on him when he was bird watching.
I saw that, and it was, girl. Not you're not a girl, but that's
I
how.
know.
Like it was just it's I don't even have a word for it. That's what it is.
So in that day, we first heard about that news, and we were all up in arms over that. And obviously, then we learned that the lady who called the police lied to them and all of that, and then she ended up getting fired for her job the same day and all. But later on, throughout that day, that's when we saw the George Floyd video,
Yeah.
collectively speaking,
Mhm.
and that was just a double dose of racism in one day. And we were just like, we thought that in this pandemic, that everybody keeps on saying we're all in this together. I'm sure you heard that on the commercials and everywhere you go.
We was
We're all in this together, right? This is a
now all
human
of a
thing,
sudden we're not. We out of it, and now we're back to being who we are.
right? We were
Right.
we were together for 75 days, but then we realized, no,
Yeah, no, I don't want to be with that. I'm good on that. It's so
right?
crazy. And what you're speaking of, like the events, the way they unfolded, I know I posted this on my Facebook, on my personal Facebook, but that Sunday I went to a birthday celebration, finally out of quarantine, not even out of quarantine,
You
just a
talk
few
about this
days.
past Sunday or the Sunday before that?
The Sunday that everything happened. Like it was Sunday and then it was Tuesday when
Yeah, Memorial Day
yeah.
weekend.
So it was that Sunday, yes. Nice, under 25 people. We're following the laws. We having a good time. And the police roll up and they turned it out. And it was just like, I was nervous because I know how things can turn so quickly. That police officer had such a nasty attitude and demeanor when all he had to say was, shut the party down. I have orders to shut the party down. So, I mean, we follow, of course. But it was so scary. And mind you, I did see some, people of other colors step in because they knew what could happen. So I did see some solidarity there. And I appreciated that because it was totally unexpected. And then here comes this. And I am just, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
I think I saw when you had posted that too, or I saw of you screen. I saw that somewhere. I was like, oh wow.
It was sad. It was scary. And I was like, well, maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe I'm judging the situation based off past situations. Oh, well, wow. I'm basing them off present situations too.
Now, what's really interesting was that when that had happened, you had seen initially they had protests just central to Minneapolis. So of course you had that, which you expected. But what had happened was, I think it was, and so much has happened the past weeks, if
Yeah.
I'm getting my dates right here, by Thursday, it really started to escalate. And Thursday, it started to go to other places like Chicago. It started spreading like quicker than the virus did over here, like all just in
That's
1 week. Like that's how the virus came, like in 1 week, boom. And it was when they burnt down the targets. I'm like, okay, this is not going to be your tip.
sorry.
It's not going to be like Ferguson. This is going to be Ferguson and everything on steroids. Because you think about it, if you go back to, and I'm kind of stepping out of. I'm going to speak
We're
really real.
all related. Go for it.
So I might not speak in my professional tone now. I'm going to speak as
Don't
Clay.
be professional. This is a safe space. Be yourself, okay? I'm your homegirl hostess, so
Okay,
hard.
okay. So when you go back to Trayvon Martin after the George Zimmerman verdict, we didn't really protest.
Yeah,
Nah, not really. We might have some a little light, but
pull some stuff up. But
we
anyway,
didn't really do nothing. Michael Brown, because I was down there in Ferguson in 2014, a couple months after for a political conference. It was just ironic that it happened to be in St. Louis, which is near Ferguson, obviously. I had went there, and this was in November of 2014, and I had went over to the site. I googled where exactly he was shot and killed at. I
mm-hmm.
went over there. I talked to, and it was like a memorial site that had flowers everywhere. It still had bloodstains on the concrete. This was like a couple months after. I took a picture of it. I took a picture of it. I was talking to a neighbor. because it kind of became like a tourist attraction. People were people were going there, and everything is weird. It's like an unofficial tourist attraction. And
That's
he was telling me how everything went down and how he saw everything go down with the when the cop had basically gunned him down and everything like that. But that was just before they decided that they weren't going to indict the officer, Darren Wilson, who had basically killed him. And that was a week before. When I went home and when they announced that, then that's when they started, rioting and protesting. But that was just central to Ferguson.
yeah,
Now, if you fast forward all of this to over here, we've had a lot of more officer involved shootings and vigilantes like Ahmaud Arbery, all that. But this here really was the dynamite. Um, because I'm going to tell you why. See, this isn't like in the past situations. See, everybody home.
I
Or
felt
we
it personally. I don't. I never felt any of them like so personally. I felt them politically, and I knew it was wrong. But this one like hurt. I don't know why.
You know why? Because he was calling for his mama as he almost lost oxygen. That's really what was, I think, at least for me, because I wasn't going to watch the video at first because
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. I don't
yeah.
know yet.
I said I wasn't going to see it because I don't need to know because I already know what happened. So when I saw it, and he was calling his mama because he had lost his mother 2 years almost to the day, and his brother had said he had not been the same ever since. He was having some mental health issues and he had some breakdowns. So he was calling his mom right before he lost consciousness, and I think that is the fuse that went off in everybody, even white people. Now I'm gonna get to that. This is really I think this is really where white people truly got. We felt they got it before, slowly but surely. But people were always saying, "Yeah, it was sad he died, but what was he doing before then?"
That
Well,
but that but always gets me. Like, just don't even say anything.
there is no but in this one. This
There
is
is no but. It happened. We can see. Like,
yeah, there was no but in this one. Everybody universally just saying, yeah, there ain't no but in this one. And the fact that so many people, you have 41 million people out of work and people still at home in many places who are, people just said, mm-mm. I honestly do not believe that if we were living in a normal situation without the coronavirus, I keep telling everybody, I do not believe that these protests would have been as large. I think you would have had it in Minneapolis still. Maybe some light peaceful protests here or there in New York, and you're gonna always get those, but not like in Durham and Raleigh and
yeah,
Fayetteville, in Jacksonville, Florida, Miami, in Berlin, London, Detroit, every major city in town, every major city in this country has had a protest.
you
And
were at a protest yesterday.
I was at a Durham protest yesterday.
I missed it. I drove down there. I had to wait to
And I
friends
was,
at work, and I missed it.
yeah, I'm sure doing it again tonight, but it was a beautiful experience. And granted, now Durham is the minority compared to every other place. It's peaceful. The Durham police, they give you the space to protest. They're even letting the protesters spray paint at the cops on their police station windows. Where else would they allow that to happen? They're actually allowing you to do that.
I felt the presence even when I got there. It was like kind of everybody was walking back. But the crowd was so large, and I saw so many different colored people. I was like, I'm so sad I missed this because I felt something when I was there, and like I might pop out there tonight because I need,
You should.
yeah, I definitely should just
You
find.
should. And go to Durham. Don't go definitely go to Durham's. I mean Raleigh's, well, just make sure you're out in time with Raleigh, because Raleigh, that's where it's been the most crazy. I don't know too much about Charlotte, but I've heard they've had some issues as well. But the thing about all this is that, you know, we most of the people that were protesting last night were white.
Yeah,
That was shocking.
that's
I
true.
did
I
not see
saw
that.
it, and I was like, yes,
And they were telling people as we were walking down the streets past the luxury condos, people were looking at us. They said, "Get out the condos and come on the streets."
yeah,
Like, while y'all up there, come on down and join us.
Yeah.
They said white silence is complicity. And then a couple blocks away, we walk by a housing project. That's just a couple blocks away, and you see mostly African Americans from their balconies, which is a huge contrast because a couple blocks away you have these expensive high
Mm-hmm.
rises people get out. Then you go past the housing projects and they're on balconies. It was just that was just surreal
Mm-hmm.
right there. And you had people honking their horns driving by and everything like that. And also what's very interesting is racism. We've been in a global racism has been a global pandemic for 400 years since 1619.
Honey.
We don't have a cure or vaccine for that.
Honey.
We're racing to get one for COVID-19, but we've yet to even try to find one for racism or even find enough therapeutics. Now, with that being said, I also and I think people, the same folks who were saying that they're not going to go out to the restaurants when they first open up, we're not going to go to a beach, they're not going to go here. Guess what? Those same people who I saw on social media say announced that they're out there, and some
Mm-hmm.
people have said that this is worth the risk.
It's
I may
worth
not go to a grocery store, I may
it.
not go out, but I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go march for humanity in this regard. So that just tells you right there how big race is in this country and on this planet. That people, I'm speaking from other people's perspective. I'm a little more different because I have been going out here and there and such. But people saying, you know what though, this I this might be a deadly disease, but racism sociologically is even worse. So it is worth me supporting and going out because white people could have easily sat this one out. They could have said, "Oh no, I'm social distancing. I'm not gonna go out at all." Oh
They
no, it's
better not sit this one out because they were just out there protesting to go outside. Well, not all of them, but some of them. So if you're gonna be protesting to go outside, here is your chance. Here, protest some more right out here.
Mhm.
So I just, it's been a lot. I don't know.
It has been. It has been. And I'm happy to see it. You know, I've been wearing black the last couple of days. I don't know if you noticed, but Target and Walmart are closing their stores at 5 or 6 o'clock respectively
No,
because they're afraid of getting looted.
yeah,
Now
yeah.
that's very interesting. The two stores that have been open throughout this whole pandemic, they shortened their hours because they're normally 24-hour stores. So they reduced their hours to 8, 9 o'clock. Now they're reducing it to close at 5 or 6 o'clock. So because of two diseases, the disease of corona and the disease of racism, is causing them to close their doors even more and more sooner than what they were already doing. All because of one man on video, and because of a supposed $20 counterfeit bill, which they found out was even fake.
You know, the crime never really matches the punishment, but somehow people always seem to drop back to that. Like, well, he kind of deserved it. Like, okay, listen, like, say that again and make it make sense. Let's talk about the looting. Um, people are. I've seen a lot of comments that says, "I get it, but." That but always gets me. It's always something, but I
There's
get
no but for me.
but this isn't the way. This isn't the way. What do you think about looting? Because personally, I say tear it up because what else can we do? This has been done over and over and over and over and over. And I can't take it anymore. Like what if we don't start tearing some stuff up, what's next? I really don't have an answer. What do you think about looting? What's your view?
Absolutely. Well, as Martin Luther King said, riots are the voice of the unheard. And I might be even taking that out of context a little bit, but I am completely with you. I'm just going to say honest. Since you told me this is a safe space, I'm going to take your
Yeah.
word on that. I don't care if Target or Walmart burned down.
I don't
I
care.
don't.
Because I
I
still have to
really.
buy stuff from there. They never gave me anything for free. you
Mhm.
know?
And unfortunately, there are black business owners who I do know who have shops.
Mhm.
You if you had to choose, you would rather not have that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, for other folks, I'm not gonna feel bad because
I,
you got insurance. If
I'm
your
not
insurance policy
looting.
ain't good, that's not all. not on us. You know,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
they're casualties in war. You know, people love going to war sometimes. You dropping bombs on innocent
obviously,
villages.
that's all we've been doing, fighting.
You know,
Unfair fights.
you drop drones on innocent people over in the Middle East. You don't ever hear them say, "What about their businesses?" or
Yeah,
what have you there.
yeah. What about them people? What about those people? Yeah.
So I feel this way. You know, I don't want black businesses personally to be affected, but if that's collateral damage, that's just like make sure you have a good insurance policy. That's
And you got
that's
to also understand that people who are looting, uh, see,
so
this
you
is
go
where
ahead
it
and say
gets tricky. This is where it gets tricky because what they do is say that looting isn't the way, but then they don't give us an answer as far as how to handle things. And then it's like, okay, I can be sympathetic to someone with their business. I totally get it. But listen, we need change. I think I smell like serious change. I think people are going to get tired of the same old thing because we're already tired of the same old thing. And then it like if we have to hit you where it hurts for you to feel it, I guess that's what we got to do.
I'm going to say this too. If your business, if people want to go that way, since you say you worked hard for your business, if you have not contributed to the success or the upbringings or of African Americans, if you did not hire them to work in your stores, if you follow them when they walk into your stores, if you did not donate to causes, I ain't gonna feel bad your business burnt down. Sorry, I not going to feel it. You know, if you were silent, if you sat out, then nah, I definitely ain't gonna feel bad then. That's just how I feel on that. But it needs to get done. We tried to kneel. Colin Kaepernick tried to kneel. We all made a fuss. We tried so many other ways. You know, here's the irony. I haven't always been for protesting, right? I used to be like, well, let's just meet with elected officials, meet and be professional. They'll listen to us. That ain't work. That we tried that. Give us watered down, diluted proposed solutions
Yes,
that
we
really
do.
end up doing not too much.
Yeah, nah, nah, nothing. It's just crazy. How like okay, so politically, from
Yeah.
your political expertise, what do you see actually changing? Anything?
Okay. Now we really about to get some stuff here.
Let's get it.
Normally, in the past several years, things have changed incrementally, not to the degree that we have wanted, but there have been incremental changes made. And with criminal justice reform, now you have both political parties, Democrats and Republicans. It's a bipartisan effort now. Now, we could argue the merits and how effective they've been, but we have made criminal justice a main issue. Criminal justice reform a main issue. On top of that, we've made racial equality, at least in a business sense, we've improved in that. Now, there's a lot of flaws still. Right? Obviously, we've seen the recent stimulus package, a lot of small businesses got left out, and a lot of black business owners, even ones that I know personally and friendly with, did not benefit at all.
Right.
So, to answer this question more directly, what do I see happening? I actually do feel very optimistic about what's going to happen now legislatively because you have the leverage now. You
Mhm.
cannot not do it now. I see that being in the form of harsher penalties for law enforcement and just a lot less red tape.
Mhm.
I see a lot more support in education. I do see that happening across the board.
Mhm.
I also do believe that there is going to be more accountability handed down because we don't want to go back to this again. So this will prompt something, just like how in the '60s, how Bloody Sunday prompted basically the Voting Rights Act of 1965 and the Fair Housing Act in 1968
Mhm.
after Martin Luther King was assassinated.
Mhm.
So it's going to take something very. If you look at all the measures and all the laws that came to place in the '60s, they came after dramatic events. They didn't come after no nice. Let's just meat instead of
Right.
potato.
It came after people messing some stuff up. I want to say
Now I'm gonna tell you this now. I'm gonna tell you this now. This is just a hunch that I have. Something very big is going to happen. It very soon, politically and even socially, very soon.
I'm
Can't
scared.
put my
Why are
finger
you
too much
thinking
on it.
like that? Do you know something that I don't know?
It's a feeling, it's a guts, but I had to be, because this is a platform, I do have to be very careful, but
True.
it's going to be, it's going to be, because this year has already been historic in so many ways, I
Crazy.
think it's going to mirror 1968. It just, if you know anything about what happened that year, if you don't, take some time later on today. A lot of things went down. The way things are going right now, it's almost bound to happen because you
History
have a
repeats
president.
itself.
Folks are acting too dangerous out there. They're acting too dangerous. You already have the president hiding in the bunker. Well,
I hate a president. Like he need to come on now. Like that is crazy. I just
now
it's
if things don't happen now, I'm just saying, I just don't like where I'm just not comfortable where this is going. And listen, we didn't think a lot of things were going to happen this year. We didn't think Kobe was going to die. We didn't think we'd be doing curbside only for restaurants.
I know.
We didn't think we'd see these protests. So nothing will surprise me.
Do you think we're going backwards?
I think no, I don't think. I think we're going. I think we are. That's a good question. I have to really think about that now. I think we
I
are,
somehow
but
feel like not even going backwards. I feel like we're just stuck.
I feel
Like
like we're going backwards, but that will prompt us to go forward in a unique way.
we're just stuck. Like you
Hmm.
can't change minds. I feel like the same people who were in charge before are still in charge. It was just handed down. The people who were in poverty before are there. That's been handed down. Generational wealth that's been handed down. So no one new has benefited. I mean, of course, you got your nice affirmative action, and we're gonna give this and make you feel comfortable. But to my eye, and I'm not very political because I can feel everything on the news, and I don't watch it that much because it's just so sad. It just looks like we're just going backwards, and everybody is like, if you're not a certain hue or a certain class, you're getting put in a cage. You're gonna get put in a cage. That's how I feel.
That's why we had to use this moment and make noise, so we don't go backwards.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this virus is already doing enough. Now,
Mm-hmm.
you add this situation in the mix, you know, it's Sunday night. It was looking uncomfortable for a moment. Even I was just like, even much as I was like, yeah, I like seeing all this. Even I was like, okay, maybe y'all need to chill just a tad. Like you weren't here, but that's just like, okay, because probably people might get hurt.
Yeah.
I'll be being honest, and I say a little more of that in person. But if we were in person, I'll probably just say like, "This is my real thing," because folks are going. The range folks are going to get involved in this. So even our own governor here, like, there's people mad at him. So he might. I'll just say, people just need to be careful out there because it's really going to heat up, and this has a lot of shades of 1968 going on right
It's
now.
it does. It does. And that's why I feel like I need to be out there. And it's kind of borderline. It feels like it's not enough. What
Mhm.
else can we do? What's the answer, Clay?
Now, I will say this though: you have our own governor saying Black Lives Matter. You have never heard our governor saying that a couple years ago. So you got actual right prominent politicians across the country are now saying it in bold terms and not in vague terms, not in the let me not stir up anybody, let me not just say we all must come together. I was just saying, look, people matter more than property. Black lives do matter.
Yeah.
That's an actual quote from our governor Roy Cooper.
I'm
You
glad
know,
you said that too, because people are really in arms about stuff. And it's like, are you serious? Stuff. We can
Mm-hmm.
replace
Well,
stuff.
we're a materialistic society. We're a very materialistic society. We love our cars. We love our iPhones. We
It's
love things.
deflective, though. It's deflective. It's like, yeah, someone got killed, but why are you gonna tear stuff
Let
up?
me
I
let me
don't.
add this to you. You know what they keep on talking? You know why they keep on talking about property more than people? What were we once in this country? What were we once in this country? Property.
Property.
That yep, there you go. We were once the same property that they consider is being gone.
I'm
Now,
so glad I'm not a slave. I will never be anybody's property. Oh, see that?
because we were once property, that's why they value property more than us psychologically and systemically. You
And
know?
try to make sense of it. Like the age where, like the comment section anywhere. I'm gonna just say the comment section be lit. And then you can probably find me in a few comment sections cursing because I do that from
I
time
say we're in the comment section now.
to
Mhm.
I stays in the comment section, and I wish I had more fingers. And I just wish I was just like I just want to like what is your thought process? What is your thinking? But again, I don't want to have a conversation about it. I don't want to talk about it no more. I just
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to.
We've had enough conversations. We're a more open society. We're more connected than ever. People can read books. People can Google whatever they want. If they have time to watch TikTok videos, people dancing, you can take time to read a history lesson.
You think they
You ain't got
would?
to go to the library now. You can just Google what happened in the Tulsa massacre in 1921. You could do that while you're in the waiting room, while you pumping your gas. There ain't no reason for nobody not to know nothing now.
And
Come on now.
they won't take the time. They'll say, "Oh, you're just making this up." Uh, I'm not making
Let
this
me
up.
tell you. Let me tell you this. Violence is American. Violence is as American as apple pie and Chevrolet. Eh, People forget. People, you know what though? And I'm gonna kind of go off a little bit here.
Go.
White people want to act like they're so calm and nonviolent and so proper. When they used
Where
to
do you think
beat
we learned
you, they used to set
from?
you on fire, maim you, and they in the sit-ins in the '60s, they were throw hot coffee on you, spit on you, and everything like that.
I don't think they remember that though.
They have
I don't
selective
think they
memory.
remember talking to us like we didn't matter. I don't think they remember that whole any. And my grandmother was alive, and she can tell me stories.
They
I
want to
don't
act like they've never been violent in their
know.
lives.
No, just sweet old Christian people. We gave y'all things. We brought y'all over here and gave y'all a good life, and you act like this. You can go back home. I don't even know where home is, man. I don't even know where to go. Look how light I am. Yeah, I don't even know where to go. Like I don't even know where I started from, and it's it's sad that they view us like that when they put us in this position. Not all, but you know the story. And I just wish people could just just be real for 1 minute. Just be real. That's all
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking for. Just some realness. Just say, I did it. This was the repercussions, and now how do we make it better? No one wants to do that.
And I do see that incrementally happening in a lot of good spaces, but there's a lot of spaces where it still needs to come over.
Yes, we
So
do not discredit everyone.
I do see some white folks even blackening their Facebook and their Instagram photos today.
I did mine.
It's a start.
It's a
It's a start.
start. It just shows solidarity. Solidarity. I hope I said that right. A lot of
Hmm.
people are also against that. Can I interject and ask, what do you feel about those who are like negatively speaking? Let's say we protest, and then they protest the protesting, and then we try to find another way to be, quiet and reserved, but still get our point across. And they protest that and say we're not doing anything. Then we get, like we get loud,
Yes.
we get rowdy. Then they protest that. Like, what do you say to those people?
Yeah. Yeah. We're,
Black
we're
people.
policing the protests more than trying to police the police officers who still need to be arrested.
Hmm.
You know, because you have to understand, and most of the policing of the protesting is coming from people who look like us. You see, I don't care if Joe White Boy is is policing how I protest. I take it more personally when people who look like you and I are doing it, saying,
Exactly.
why are you burning down stuff? Why are you and stuff? I mean, I just want to slap these people upside their heads.
Yeah. Why are you not? Why are you not burning down stuff?
And these are people who would consider themselves not Uncle Tom. People consider themselves down the cause, but there's always something about us that we have to do things properly and impress white people. That it's built within us.
It is built within us. I have noticed myself maybe code switching without meaning to.
Realize
And I'm like, I just code switch. Let me switch switch right on back. But you might feel nervous or unwanted or so, I don't know. I can't explain it, but where I live, I would say I live in a nice part of town because white people
I
are
do too.
walking their dogs. What? What? They're probably serial killer. Like, what makes it so nice? Because the white person is here. I pay rent. I make good money. I'm able to live here. So why isn't it nice? Because there are multiple black people here who are able to match the living standard of white people. It's just conditioned in us. I catch myself thinking like that a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I haven't been able to sleep much this whole week because I just been watching. And I kind of stayed away from the news because I just felt up to this point because I just felt they were talking too much about the coronavirus and they were fear mongering. But when I realized that CNN was talking more about the protests and they were actually was having, especially with Don Lemon, good content
Mm-hmm.
about having a real conversation and not sanitizing stuff. I'm like, okay, I'll watch the news again because I'd say I haven't watched the news throughout these last couple of months because every day was just negative, negative. You're talking about more people dying and more people than recovering. It's like
Right.
you want us to wear masks and gloves forever, but I don't want to get off topic from that. But but just but just watching this news, I just recently this past week I couldn't find myself going to bed 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and just hearing different different audios of folks who I listen to regularly, what their take was, and just to listen to different perspectives. Even with Rowan Martin, if you know who he is and all that, and just okay, it just make it. You never know. I never want to assume people who listen to what I listen to. So because I do want to unapologetically black forum, because sometimes mainstream media has a way of trying to sanitize, even when they've been doing real good, but they still find themselves sanitizing just a little bit. When they start doing stuff like on today's show, let's show at our last segment of cops kneeling and cops hugging kids. That's good. I don't want to see that.
Cute.
I
It's
don't want to
cute.
see cops dancing with
Yeah.
kids. I don't want to see police chiefs. I'm good. That was good the first time you showed me. I'll need you to show me that every day because that gets us relaxed and comfortable. Thinking, oh, okay,
Yeah.
because they hug me.
Okay. Now we're friends. Now we can go back.
Nah,
Yeah.
nah,
Yeah.
mm-mm,
Because he will
uh-uh.
still arrest you. Okay.
Yeah. That's because he hugging you, not putting you in body slamming or putting you in handcuffs. People they show that at the end of the day, saying, "Oh, you see, there can be peace and harmony." See, the mainstream networks will do that. Rowan Martin's the Unfiltered podcast, they ain't gonna show you that. They're not gonna show. They're not gonna try to make you feel good afterward. They're gonna make you feel empowered and want to
Yeah.
fight. I
Yeah.
don't want to feel good. I mean, I do, granted, but
Yeah.
I want to feel empowered and want to fight.
Right. I agree. I agree. Like, don't sugarcoat it because people love Trump because he doesn't sugarcoat things, but then they go out
Yeah,
into the world and sugarcoat things, and it's like, okay, just stand on your beliefs, feel how you feel. Like I told someone in the Facebook comments the other day, if you're a racist, just say that. Like,
I
don't
don't
you're
care.
not gonna, yeah, you're not gonna hurt my feelings. Like, be yourself. So I know, so I know how to fight you. You know what I'm saying?
Now, I don't want to take the course over of the show, but I also do want to talk about just economic power and black entrepreneurs like yourself, myself. Even if we're not fully entrepreneurial, but at least we aspire to be. Obviously, this is a form of entrepreneurial, what we're just doing with this platform here.
Yeah.
I don't think you're doing this as a hobby. So, yeah, just keep up the good
I went to school for this,
work.
and I went to school for it, so I obviously loved it. But right now it's a hobby. Hopefully, it can turn into something more. But hey, I'm here for you. I'm trying to shine a light
That's
on
good.
positive things.
Yeah.
Hear your take. So, take me where you wanted me to go. Let's
Yeah,
hear.
so absolutely. So, obviously you're hearing about now July 7th being a economic boycott
Yes.
day. And
Yes.
so I completely agree with that. You know, we always try to do this, but never really completely gets off the ground. We always say let's all shop black, but we don't. We still end up going to Ross. And
They got
I
some.
always I always get in trouble when I say this to people who I know personally, like in my family, whatnot. But and I really this is a territory I need to stay out of, but I'm just going to say it only through the prism of shopping black. Stop going to places like Beauty World or places black hair shops that are owned by non-blacks. It really I despise that with a burning passion.
You know what? I made a status
And
about
you might hate me for saying that, but I just had to say it.
no, and you're right though. You're right. I just said that. I was just looking at the demographics of things and how people from other nationalities they come over and they're not gifted with stuff, but there is a way easier, or maybe they have more hustle. I don't know, but it's easy for them to get a nail salon. It's easy for them to get a
Yep.
restaurant. It's easy for them to get a corner store.
Yep.
Where are the since this is the land of the free and we've been here, where are those resources? How readily available are they to us, or are we just not looking for them?
Yep. Exactly. And we also have and it's also too that they have exploited our market and they haven't always treated us good. And
Yeah,
I'm going to be honest. Google, do you know the story of Latasha Harlins?
no, please tell.
Google. So Latasha Harlins was a 15-year-old girl in South Los Angeles back in 1991. She
Mm-hmm.
had went to a deli, a convenience store that was owned by Koreans. And I used to live in Los Angeles, so and obviously this was a national story.
Mm-hmm.
So she had, and again, story might be a little muddled, but they thought that she was shoplifting milk. And she said, "No, I'm not. Then still no milk." So then she grabbed her bag and she fought the store owner back. It was an Asian woman, a Korean woman. Then when she yanks her bag and she pushes her off of her, then she walks to the store. The Korean, the clerk, she grabs a shotgun and shoots her dead. And that was a huge concert. This happened right around the same time when Rodney King's video was shown. So those two stories coincide together, which culminate into the '92 Rodney King riots, which is now has gotten surpassed by the George Floyd riots, because that was the biggest riot up to this point, recently. But and that story has to get told too much because, again, black women, unfortunately, black men is going to get more attention than black women in most cases, even in mainstream medias. But
Mm-hmm.
the issue about that was that she was arrested. However, she was sentenced by a white conservative judge to just probation because she had felt that she was protecting her store and the property, and she felt that she was really a good person. So she was sentenced to just probation in that particular instance, and that was a huge outcry in Los Angeles and all. And that was right around the time when the Rodney King verdicts came down, when the officers that beat him were acquitted. That's one of the reasons why the LA riots were a big thing, because they didn't value Rodney King's life and they didn't value Tasha Harmon's life, who was actually shot dead. Rodney King survived, obviously. But
Obviously,
so
still don't
that's
value.
why when I worried about the Latasha Harlow story, that's why I'm just like, why do many African American women continue to shop in Asian owned businesses when historically Asian and black communities haven't always been cohesive? Now, again, it's a bad apple thing, just like with cops. But if someone has been oppressive just as much as someone who's white, don't continue to go there.
Yeah,
That is where I go with
I
that.
think they put them on a higher pedestal than us as well.
Mm-hmm.
Say they're
And
smarter or something.
if you look at the Mike Brown situation, one of the reason why he got shot down, because they felt an Indian convenience store owner said that he stole something and strong armed him and pushed him,
Yeah,
and he
like
stole something. That's why the police got called on him, Michael Brown, because the Indian convenience store owner called the police and tracked him down over a stolen, item, and that's why Mike Brown got shot and killed. So
I
I don't know what the demographics are in the George Floyd case, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was someone who was Asian or even Hispanic descent.
think it
It
was
would not
one
surprise
of
me.
the cops were Asian. I think one of the cops were Asian and the other one.
Right.
Um, And it's been caught on tape so many times, and it's never done anything about it. But the whole shopping with other nationalities, um, I I want to say supply and demand, but I really
Mhm.
I really can't. But normally, when you see someone with a black business, someone else black shops there, and once they're not accommodated as they feel they should be, or not hooked up or looked out after, then it becomes an issue. And I don't get that either.
Now, this is not, they got to be allies. Now, here's a real good ally who's Hispanic. Google, when you get a chance, just, that's another, another thing I'm going to give you.
Look,
Google
just give
Chef
me
Andre.
hunger.
Google Chef Andre.
Okay.
He's a Hispanic restaurant owner in Washington, D.C. He is very liberal, very progressive. Chef Andre donates to Black Lives Matters. He he's very socially conscious, and he's a white looking Hispanic guy. Now that's an ally whose restaurants you eat at and support.
Yeah.
He's not exploiting the black market. He is supporting the black. He supports the black market and the black customer. Look up Chef Andre, and it'll immediately come up. You know,
Chef
so.
Andre. I'm putting that on my list of things to Google because you gave me like 3 assignments. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna look that up as well. Um,
Yeah.
how about do you think that we're asking too much? Black
Nope.
Lives Matter, breaking it all down to just us. We just want this attention right now. Do you feel that way?
Nope. We're not asking for too much. We're asking for enough. And actually, I don't think there can be enough.
The
Because,
bare minimum. Respect.
yeah, I mean that's a start, but you can't. Don't be afraid of asking for too much, because then again, you're thinking that you can't get nothing done. Ask for
Yeah.
everything. Everything's on the table right now. You have the leverage. So make your demands, no matter how radical it might sound. You know, I did this approach. These protests and everything have been more Malcolm X like, more so than Martin Luther King like, which I like personally. And I haven't always been a fan of, the Malcolm X tactics, but as I've gotten older and more conscious and aware, Malcolm X style, at least, I'm not talking about some of the controversial stuff, is resonating a lot more with Black Lives Matter than, the Dr. King approach, what people misconstrue all the time, but you're not going to misconstrue Malcolm X. Yeah.
But they both died. They both got shot. So
Yep.
I mean, obviously, no matter what you do, you're gonna get a bullet.
Yep.
Which is the sad part.
Mm-hmm. Someone once said Martin Luther King is just as dead as Tupac Shakur.
He just is dead. He was, and I saw it on Twitter. A lot of people were trying to argue with Martin Luther King Jr. the third,
Yeah.
telling him what his dad would do, and they were like, "Well, your dad never rioted." Oh, I'm sure he wasn't a happy black man. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure he wanted to tear some stuff up.
Martin Luther King's approval ratings at the time of his death were in the 60s, and they were in around 1965, 60, 67. They were as low as 20-30%, because even with the black community, his message had kind of become diluted at that point, and they started shifting more towards Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey. You
Yeah,
can look all that up. But now, and since his death, he has 100% approval rating and everything. But he wasn't even that really famous right before he wasn't that popular right before he died.
mm-mm.
So that's an actual fact. And he was radical. If you really read his books and read, some of the March on Washington wasn't just called the March on Washington. It was actually officially called the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. But people just focus on the content of the character and all that, but they really skip over having an economic justice plan for African Americans.
Content of my character. Don't judge me off that. Just fight me. I just get so mad. I'm off topic.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I just think it's crazy that now people want us to go back to being peaceful and quiet down, get on your knees. We'll take care of it in about 400 more years. It'll all blow over soon. I don't think it will.
Yeah, they want this to be over soon, but no, you gotta keep momentum going.
Yeah, keep it going. Keep it going for. I don't want to keep it going for 400 years, but I never want us to be silenced again.
Mm-hmm.
So when people give other options to looting and protesting, they jump to voting. talk to us about how you think, not how you think we can change the voting, but what can we actually do? Who should we look to vote for? Do you have any suggestions? Or
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's really all depends on where you live exactly. Obviously, you live in North Carolina,
Mhm.
so definitely vote for Roy Cooper and for the governor's race. And obviously, you're probably gonna. It's probably foregone conclusion not voting for Trump. So, but the local races are going to really make a difference. We got a lot of local statewide races, and that really all vary on where specifically you live. But the state house races and the congressional races are going to be very, very more important than the presidential races because those really affect you more directly than the top of the ticket will. So those were you're going to have to vote, and we could talk offline because it's very specific to where you live. I
Mhm.
could tell you who's running and all that, and they're good people that are running. But
Mhm.
if you don't live in that particular jurisdiction, then I might think you live one place and then you end up living in another place.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of good folks running for State House. I'm almost sure you're either going to live in Zach Hawkins' district or Renetta Austin's district. Those are two good people you need to vote for. Locally speaking, to run for State House, you're going to get either one or the other on the ballots.
Mhm.
Because if you live in Durham, like I do, for for Congress, G.K. Butterfield's running for re-election, so definitely vote for him there. So I'm going to say the most important races are going to be your state house and state senate races. And I just gave you the names of individuals there who you really need to keep an eye out for. And definitely Jessica Holmes
Mhm.
for Commissioner of Labor. Don't skip that box. It's not a sexy race, you know. It's not a sexy race at all, the Commissioner of Labor, but
Mhm.
she's running for elevator lady, which is what we call in North Carolina. She's the face that you'll see in the elevator and the
Sure.
face that you'll see in your break rooms. Well, whenever we go back to offices again. you know? Right now it's Sherry Berry, but she's not running for re-election. And I probably should just plug Jessica Holmes first because I'm gonna be working her virtual fundraiser. But she is going to be she's gonna be a progressive change, a voice for change. She's not a step and fetch. I'm speaking real raw culture language here. She's not a step and fetch brown noser for
Mhm.
white folks. She's probably not that radical. I mean, she does enough to be in everybody's good graces, but she will speak out on black issues
Mhm.
when needed. She helped cleaned up after over the weekend, everything after all that. That's good. Hey, if you cleaned up, good. But I mean, I let other folks clean up. That's just me on that. If folks want to help clean up after the fact, that's all right. That's on them. But I think by not cleaning up, you make more of a message. But I don't want to get into that again. Um, but yeah, so that we keep in mind on her race for state senate. Your Natalie Murdoch will be on the ballot. She was a client of mine. She is running for state senate in November. So she's again is under 40 African American woman, progressive, who will be on the ballot in November also. She's running for state senate. That just came to mind also. So definitely look out for the statewide races here.
Nice. So you just gave me the whole rundown. You obviously know what you're talking about politically. What can we do to get out there? I know they had a. Does the census matter? Should we
It
fill
does.
that out?
Yes. Don't just let it collect dust. Do it. It's gonna be 20 minutes, but honestly, we spend 20 minutes doing other mindless stuff.
True.
So if you can spend 20 minutes doing mindless crap, then you can spend 20 minutes filling out a census report. It's tedious, but it's worth it. It's worth it in the long run because it really determines voting districts.
Hmm.
So we don't have gerrymandering like we did after the 2010 census.
Hmm.
And that could create more Republican races that can inadvertently or directly create racially constructed voting areas,
Hmm.
which does not work good.
Hmm.
And we have that happened in the last census. That's why we probably have more Republicans in power in the state legislature than we ought to. And with Republicans in power right now, we already know what you're going to get with that. So not like a two-party system, but I'm just going to keep it real. Also, cuts to Medicaid, cuts to public funding of schools, and you know life saving services like emergency funds for if your light's about to be cut off. So
Hmm.
those are microscopic issues
Yeah,
that you gotta consider on the ballot. You know, even if they don't apply to you directly, it does one way or another.
it will
Well,
eventually.
I don't got kids in school, but still,
Uh,
make sure they have a good public
yeah.
education experience.
So we should definitely be getting out there, filling out our consensus, our
No,
city.
you're good.
Don't do that. We're out here protesting. We're out here using our voices, marketing, branding, social media, everything that basically you do. So, how can the Susa strategies help in times like these?
Yeah. So definitely use social media heavily. If you have an organization or a company or a business or a platform such as this, invest invest in sponsored ads. I'm
Mhm.
really getting kind of technical here because you're going to reach more audiences, more demographics that way than just a regular social media post would. Have meaningful content too.
Mhm.
You know, don't do the regular everyday stuff. Have meaningful content, especially now that engages with people, that assesses their needs, finding out what your audience, what the people want out there. If you're a business or have a platform or brand, obviously you want to reach out to people, so that's what you need to do. And just make sure that you stay fresh on your content. Make sure you're not tone deaf in anywhere because you can't afford to be tone deaf right now. You know,
Right.
it's not. It'll be really irresponsible for you today to be posting a cooking video while you got people protesting outside. That's
Is it
tone deaf.
not fair?
Now, cooking videos were good 2 months ago. We're all for it, but not right now. This week,
Do you think people should stop promoting their stuff in lieu of things?
um,
What if they're like trying to break the
now
ice or like,
I'm gonna answer. This is a two-prong answer.
tell
So
me?
I'm gonna say yes because some people don't know how to don't know how to promote appropriately. If
Hmm.
you are going to promote,
Hmm.
make sure that you address the situation going on.
Okay.
And you have to make sure you walk that tightrope very carefully. If
I
you're not
understand.
capable or not educated enough or responsible enough, just don't say nothing. Even though I would rather you say something, but if you're gonna have a fumble with your words, don't talk. I want you to speak, but if you're gonna speak, make sure you you speak eloquently and educated. It don't sound tone deaf. Don't say something like, and let me give you an example here. I'm gonna take out my phone and see a big PR fail I saw the other day. Hold on.
Honey, if you come to my Facebook news feed, you'll see so many PR fails. I'm just looking like,
Um, one really just grinded my gears. It was from an Arizona senator who I've met years ago when I was doing political campaign work out there. Very good lady, but this is what the message was. George Floyd should be alive today. The video of Mr. Floyd's death shows probable cause for an arrest of the officer involved. I support the ongoing investigations. Hope justice will be done. Not bad so far. This is where it gets rough because bad officers make it. Here's where it gets rough now. I support the ongoing investigations and hope justice will be done because bad police officers make it harder for good police officers to do their job safely. Tone deaf right there. Now, too many Americans fear that what happened to George Floyd can happen to them, and all Americans have the right to protest and should refrain from violence while doing so. Neither discrimination nor violence have any place in our society. That's a tone deaf message. Now, I'm gonna tell you
well,
why it's
I'm
tone.
confused. Yeah, like I don't know where you stand.
Exactly. And violence has no place in our society when this country was built on violence.
Honey,
So
that's
you
again.
that's from a white senator's voice.
Hmm.
See, that's where you fumble right there. Because again, it sounds like you're trying to make an excuse, and you're not looking at the real core of the issue. And then you sound tone deaf to your own history. This country was founded on violence. Violence has no place in our society. What? What world are you living in?
You catch your hands any day. I like to fight. I don't know. But
So yeah,
will we should we expect them, like are we expecting too much from them? From
no,
from
I
them
mean,
to say, hey, I need you to be on my side. If you say something that's not aligning with what I think, forget you. But you have, if you're gonna speak, say something that I agree with.
exactly. I mean, it might sound like it's too much to ask for, but come on now. We tried the other ways.
We did.
It ain't work.
We tried.
We have examples of how it worked and how it didn't work. So now we all have a playbook on why statements like that do not work or resonate well.
It's true.
Yep.
So the overall point I'm getting at is we're not asking too much. We're probably not even asking for enough.
Right. Make all the demands while you have the leverage. Because you're not going to get this opportunity. The window's only open for so long when you have these things happen. Just like I'm kind of harping back to the whole quarantine stage. You had a couple months of having free time. If you ain't done nothing with it, then come on now. You ain't going to get this again in history.
You're never going to
Not.
get straight like this. And people were mad about that. I'm like, you're never going to not have to do anything.
When's the next time Duke Power going to let you not pay your light bill on time?
Honey, I don't know, but I need to figure it out.
Exactly.
I enjoyed, I felt like the world stopped. I felt like it stopped. I felt like we all were, like, I really felt as one unit. Everybody was dealing with the same thing. And everything seemed so minuscule compared to that. And now it's like, oh, open the doors and we back to show our ass. Everybody showing their ass now. I just think that's crazy.
Yep, indeed.
The world is waking back up.
Yep. Yep.
That's so crazy.
It is.
Oh, so do you have anything else to say to the listeners? Anything you want to interject on? Like, I mean, I feel like you got a little bit of fire in you and you just want to keep going.
Right. Yo, yeah, I told you, once you go down that way, it's going to be hard to reel back in. So I definitely wanted to give you a moment to ask something else. Keep the fight up. I always say to everybody, stay woke, not broke. And you want an explanation on that, control your dollar, spend it wisely, appropriately, make your demands while you have the leverage. Do not let up, do not sit idle. No one gets a pass on this one. Centrism is not acceptable right now. You got to pick a side. You either with us or you against us. There's no black or white, no pun intended. You either on the right side, you're on the wrong side of history on this one. And anyone who is quiet, black, white, gray, purple, Hispanic, whatever, Asian, you got to pick a side. If you don't say nothing, silence is complicity, and it further adds to the systemic problem that we have in this country. If I don't see anybody speaking out, I don't trust you. I just don't.
Nah. You'd rather hear something than nothing. So clarify your side, because once people start talking, they'll eventually tell the truth.
Mm-hmm. That should filter out. That should filter all out right there.
That's true. Once they start talking, you'll hear it, and it'll come out. And you're looking at them like, I thought I knew you, and I don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Nobody's gonna be perfect in their message, but we have enough history out there. Folks can do research on. Yeah. If folks want to know anything, they have enough recent history, so you can't make no excuses now.
It's all around you, all around you. And if people choose to be blind, I guess that's on them, and it's up to us to make them see.
Yep.
And that's what the Creative Carolina culture is all about. Me connecting with people like you. Again, this couldn't have came at a better time with your marketing expertise, your political expertise, like giving it to us real, giving us little hints on how to vote. We appreciate that. I appreciate that. My mom stays on me about that.
Mm-hmm.
So, your social media handles.
Yep.
Email. How can we get in touch with you?
Definitely. So I'm on both Instagram and Twitter. I'm gonna start using Twitter more now, because Twitter had a little down period, but it's having a resurgence during this pandemic. But Instagram and Twitter at CDeSouza39. So I'll spell it out: Charlie, David, Echo, Sam, Octopus, Unicorn, Zebra, A, Apple, 39. So CDeSouza39 right on the screen right there. And also on Facebook and LinkedIn under Clay D'Souza. My name spelled out right there. And I'm very accessible. And contact me at any time, any questions, concerns, or anything at all. And I'm always open for new clients, new business, new projects. Or if folks want to talk about civic engagement, I can talk about that also. So, yep.
Clay, thank you so much. I
Thank
don't even want
you,
to get
Tyra.
it. I have actually no clue how long we've been talking. I feel like we could keep going.
Hmm.
So once social distancing is over, I definitely want to get with you and pick your brain a little bit more. You obviously have a lot of experience, and um, it's great to know that a young mind is interested in these things and not afraid to speak out on these things. No, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, and continue to be a good platform for good.
I'm gonna try my best. So
It's a
thank
good first
you
story.
again. All right, everyone. This is the Creative Carolina Culture. I'm your homegirl hostess, TyraLen. Thank you so much, Clay, for stopping by. And y'all be safe out here because it's crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye bye.